an agenda. Things are happening, and I'm observing them, and I have to talk about them. I'm still amazed at some of the things that I see online with the emails I get in my Hotmail account. One of them is, please add this person to your LinkedIn network. Adding ex-coworkers I don't like. Hell no! That's the best thing I can say about some of these people is that they're ex-coworkers. I don't want to continue the experience, albeit online. You have common friends. It's like, I don't care. Now for my current line of work. Working at a bank, it's always an adventure, living the dream. Sometimes we get delivery people there because, if I don't have supplies, I can't get my work done. And this past week, one of them arrived, and he said that he needed a break. And it's like, dude, take as long as you need. Why did I say that? Because he was an overweight man that was breathing really hard. It's like, I was afraid that he was going to collapse and I'd have to call 911. So it's like, that's definitely why I was thinking, take as long as you need. Nothing happened, thankfully, but I just couldn't ignore that. And it's like, my boss said, they're paid to bring in the delivery themselves, do not help them. It's like, okay, I have my orders that I should follow. And then the other recent notable thing is that I went into the branch because there is one in the building, and I was told that the branch manager was absent because her husband has COVID, and it's like, ooh, that's not good. And it reminded me of my favorite Prince song being Sign of the Times because it's social commentary. So if somebody was going to do an update of that song in this day and age, I think they'd have to start off with mention of COVID, because of course, in Prince's version, it starts off with mention of a skinny man in France who died of a big disease, a little name, which would have been AIDS, most likely, because it was written in the 80s. I guess it's a reminder of the outside world there. I'm kind of sheltered pretty well since most people aren't back at the office yet. They're working from home. And more pleasant things. Yes, there are more pleasant things in the world. Like back to the annoying things. I was at an airline museum sale this weekend, and I turned on my phone because at the end because I wanted to be reminded of what time it was. And when I turned it on, I found out there were text messages sent to me at 4 a.m. by a political campaign. I don't think I'm going to vote for your candidate now. There's a reason why I have my phone shut off at 4 a.m. because I don't want people bothering me. Wonder if anybody got fired for sending text messages at that time of the morning. It's not good. I just replied and said stop, because that's normally what they tell you to do with text messages that you don't want. Recently I also went to Oktoberfest in New Ulm, and I spoke with somebody there, and I said, well, one thing I noticed during the pandemic is that when I started buying beer at liquor stores, it's way cheaper than at bars. And they said, oh, that's really dangerous, having beer at home. And it's like, Well, there are a lot of other things at home that can be potentially dangerous. It's like there's not just Alcoholics Anonymous, there also is Overeaters Anonymous. And it's like, well, some people having food at home is dangerous. Or what else can be dangerous at home? A lot of things that weren't intended to be weapons, but can be, like hammers and such. And so it's like, yeah, I think that's why we all have self-control, and it's up to us to use it so things don't become dangerous and just stay potentially dangerous. Use your head, people. Well, I guess that gets back to another annoying thing. I like going to museums because I'm a history major, and I went to Minnesota History Center this weekend. I went to see the Sinclair Lewis exhibit, and pretty early on I heard somebody before they entered it, and before I did, say, who's Sinclair Lewis? And I told them, first American to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. And it's like, well, if you don't know who he is, why don't you come in and find out who he is? What a concept! up, you're a museum, come to learn, instead of just ask. Oh, and movies I've seen. This weekend I went to see the Clint Eastwood movie Cry Macho. Yeah, pretty good. And saw that after I was reminded out my dad's a Clint Eastwood fan. He asked me if I'd seen it yet. I said, no, too busy. Well, I found the time. I also watched Coal Miner's Daughter, the Loretta Lynn biopic. And the only thing I remember from watching it when I was 6 years old was trying to get the Jeep up the hill. But I remembered it wrong. He got the Jeep up the hill. When I was a kid, I was thinking he didn't. Oh, and Larry from Larry and the Darryls on Newhart is in it. I forgot about that too. So, yeah, sometimes it's good to discover old movies. Well, I guess that'll do it for me. They've all been great.